Right, Bo. We need to talk about your party. Not well, maybe Jezbollah. Let's just go with Jezbollah. We need to talk about Jezbollah. They're mobilizing. They're mobilizing. You've not seen any of this, so this is going to be comedy gold. Live reaction. They are mobilizing. It's worthwhile following, obviously, just to kind of get a lay of the land. As much as we rip on Jeremy Corbyn, he does mobilize certain demographics, and so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So it's worthwhile covering. And I always thoroughly enjoy the types of comments that these videos have been attracting. It's comedy gold. I love it. I absolutely love it. So
what's happened? I genuinely haven't seen this. I'll be reacting to this in real time.
Yeah. So, well, basically, they had the beginnings of their events that are happening, and it's just so incredibly telling. So Adnan Hussein, typical British name, of course, and says an absolutely electric Your Party event. Still calling it Your Party, and yet getting annoyed when people call it Your Party. So just funny, obviously. Point of note there. In event in Blackburn today. Wonderful to see everyone show up in hope of a new way of doing politics. This is just the beginning. This is Your Party. Again, just messaging, just completely out the wazoo. And I just thought, we're just going to watch this. The sound's irrelevant. It's just very, very comical.
Wow, looks electric. Looks electric.
Well, look who it is.
Right.
Just to see her pube faces.
Is it literally in a mosque?
I think so. Look at the state of it. Yeah, that's a mosque, isn't it? That's a mosque. Or some type of... Yeah, it looks like a mosque. Look at the state of it. The absolute state of it. So I replied, shameless plugging. So it's just the Muslim party.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when Jeremy Corbyn wants to protect LGBTQ people? Hilarious. You clowns. This is good. This is going to completely fall apart. Just absolutely, completely self-destruct. And so we've got this as well. So for the many, not the few. Look at it. I was like, yeah, for the many Muslims, not the few English. Yeah, we get it. Read it loud and clear. We get it. So the beginning of their first sort of, first sort of events, and this is going to be, I'm guessing, just what we're going to see moving forwards now. Just this weird alliance between these independent Gazan MPs. Fifth columnists, just absolute filth. Shouldn't be here. Shouldn't be in politics. I don't care what anyone says. No one of ideological sort of religious belief should be completely out of politics. I'm so sick of it. It doesn't belong here. It's never belonged here. I'm over it, basically. And there's this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The enemy of the working class travels by private jet, not migrant dinghy. I was like, yeah, cool. How about... So I was just like, yeah, cool. How about all those Pakistani Muslim rape gangs?
Right.
Just trying to keep the pressure on, basically. And that's it. That's the bulk of it. I mean, we could kind of go through and look at more. They've actually got one, Your Party in Swindon. There's an event for Your Party in Swindon coming up at some point.
Yeah, I did hear about that. They're going to Manchester Road in Swindon. If anyone doesn't know, that is just the belly of the beast. That is just where that is completely captured by foreign people, Muslims. That is the place. Of course, it's absolutely disgusting in terms of picking up trash and things. It looks like the third world, and there's the most crime is in that area. And so that's where they're going. That's where Your Party is turning up for their little Swindon thing. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. So just the Party of Islam then. So you've seen that there's going to be increasingly more Islamic independence And so you're thinking, oh, I can create a party. Jezza is obviously thinking, oh, I can create a party out of that and draw them together and organize them and make them an actual, an actual block in Parliament. That's what this is. This is an exercise in that. Right. So furthering the invasion, then furthering the Islamification of Britain, which isn't an Islamic country. So just one. I guess it's the one last hurrah of Jeremy Corbyn's career that finally, even the Labour Party, even a strong, hardline, ex-Fabian crypto commie like Keir Starmer, doesn't want anything to do with Corbyn. And so now the only way left, really, the only avenue that he can find to carve out for himself to strike at the heart of England and Britain is to do something like this. And so obviously he's doing it because he hates us. He wants to see us destroyed. It's such filth. It's barely comprehensible.
Thing is, as well, I mean, I often wonder to myself, like, does he actually does he think that this is going to end positively for him? Because let's just, let's just do a thought experiment, I guess. Not that we need to, because this has been played out all across the planet, various cultures here and there, various countries anyway. Does he think that, say, for argument's sake, that his party gets into power? Does he think that if the, Islam gets a critical mass within Parliament, is that going to end well for you, Jeremy, mate? Is that going to end well for you? Do you think it's going to end well for anyone that's English, like just anyone? Like, is that? Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. You take this to its inevitable conclusion. The Islamification of the UK will see brutal Sharia law implemented, barbarism on a scale never before witnessed in this country. Even in the medieval ages, we were never as barbaric as these savages are. It's just such a sheltered luxury belief. This isn't going to affect you. And I was having this conversation with someone actually about, about women that tend to, it was with a woman actually, about diversity. And I said, well, actually, the people that promote diversity and equality do so because they've been afforded that luxury by strong men, strong in the West, strong white men. You believe that, the country will be benefited by diversity. That's because you don't live in squalor and crime, because strong men have made it safe for you. You believe in equality of the sexes because strong men have made it safe for you, because when something does hit the fan, you're not actually there in the front line ready to go. And this is just a luxury belief that these just retarded communists believe that this will not destroy them. And they're able to hold that belief quite simply because better people have come before them and rooted out this savagery. We had crusades for it.
It's a good point you make about how can Corbyn or other people like him, how can they really think or believe that this works out well for them in the end? Because again, let's just say hypothetically, your party becomes the government, or if not even that, just becomes the opposition, or just has a big block in Parliament. At some point, then they will just coup him internally out of the leadership, because he's white, he's Western. I don't think I'm pretty sure he hasn't formally converted to Islam. So at some point, the second he's not valuable enough to them, they'll just coup him out of the way, and it will be the Islamic Party of Britain or whatever. So how does he think? How does he think that this works for him in any real way? And yeah, that axis, that strange connection between communism or hardline socialism and Islam. That's played out many, many, many times over the decades, over the centuries, even a couple of centuries. It never ever works out well for the commies ultimately, because once the Islamists get the upper hand, they do away with those useful idiots. They do away with them. They don't need them. There's nothing in their book which says we have to be political bedfellows with communists. No, once they've got the whip hand, they do away with them every single time. Every single time. And yeah, the other point you've made, which I think is interesting and worth building on, is the other talking points and the other things of interest, the other policy points that a lot of lefties and commies talk about, like, for example, globalism that extends to everybody, or inclusion which extends to, like the LGBTQ plus community or whatever it is. Yeah, that doesn't go down well with the Islamists. They're not on board with that. At some point, they'll do away with that because it's their way or the highway. It is. They have got a divine set of beliefs which doesn't include LGBTQ communities and peoples. It doesn't include them. So, I mean, do you remember? I think it was it at Batley? There was a school. That was an interesting flashpoint a few years back, where it's like a Muslim. I don't know if it's Muslim majority, but there was certainly a lot of Muslim kids went there, and so obviously a lot of Muslim parents. And that school were trying to teach LGBTQ ideology, and there was a big flashpoint over it. And various politicians tried to wade in. And you have to pick a side. So, for example, I remember it was actually that Jess Phillips. I think it might even have been in her constituency, but anyway, she was nearby. And at some point, eventually, she was sort of painted into a corner where she had to give a statement or give her opinion. And I believe she did actually come down on the side of the LGBTQ plus side of that argument. Well, again, a luxury at this stage. Because once the Islamists get the upper hand, they won't accept that. That just won't be acceptable. Once again, it's their way or the highway. Absolutely. So yeah, once again, we're someone like, what on earth does Jeremy Corbyn think he's doing? Well, it's just a short-term thing. He's not going to be in politics all that much longer. He's not going to be alive all that much longer. Right? In 20 years, he won't be here. He won't be alive in 20 years. So that's what a lot of older people fall back on, saying, "Oh well, I won't be here anyway." So,
Boomer.
What a disgusting thing. Corbyn has always acted against the interests of this nation. And this is just one more example of it. He sees a way to do that, a new avenue to strike at us, and so of course he's leaning into it as hard as possible. Classic Corbyn.
Utter filth.